What's going on, folks? Josh here with Shua Photography, and this week I accidentally had a little bit too much to drink, and it was late at night, perusing Amazon, and I accidentally bought a couple of lenses that aren't going to work for me. However, they will work on all of my cameras, so I'm going to test them out anyways before I ship them back. What I'm going to go ahead and do is still try them out, test them out, and see what the quality is like and how they perform. What are the two lenses that I accidentally bought? Well, I was perusing Amazon and looking for new lenses that may have come out from third-party providers for the Nikon Z mirrorless cameras. I just so happened to stumble upon a couple of Viltrox f1.4 lenses that I thought, might as well give it a shot, right? Well, in the description, you'll see here and here, it says that it's APS-C, which means that it's for a crop censored camera, which would be like the Nikon Z50. And yes, they will work on the Z6II, the Z7II, and the Z5 that I own. However, there's an instant 1.5 times crop on it, and that will diminish my megapixels. So I don't like using crop censored lenses on my full frame cameras unless I absolutely have to. But they still will work, and I can still see what the image quality is like and if it might be right for someone like you. The crop factor isn't much of an issue other than when it comes to megapixels. Because it goes into DX crop mode, it's not using the full sensor, so my 45 megapixel Z7II is actually going to be down closer to a 24 megapixel camera like the Z6II, but then the Z6II will end up being, I think it's like a 19 megapixel image every time I take an image. Now, I don't believe it will cause issues in video, it's only in photo. So what I've decided to do is I'm still going to test out these two lenses on the Z7II and the Z6II, and I'm going to try both photo and video. I'm getting ready to head up to Scottsdale, Arizona for the Barrett-Jackson car auction. It's going to be my first time being there, but there's going to be hundreds of amazing automobiles that I think would be super awesome to try both of these lenses out. All of the video is going to be done on the Z6II, utilizing the 23mm, so it gives me a 35mm equivalent. And then for photos, I'm going to put the 33mm on the Z7II, which will give me roughly a 50mm equivalent. So if you want to see how these two lenses perform, if you have a Z50 or you don't care about the crop factor, check it out right after this. All right, so I've got both my Z6II and my Z7II loaded up with the Viltrox lenses, and we're going to be taking them to Scottsdale, Arizona for the Barrett-Jackson car auction. What you'll see in this review, all of the video is going to come from the Z6II with the 23mm f1.4 Viltrox lens, and all of the photos will come from the 33mm f1.4 Viltrox lens. So this is essentially giving me a 50mm equivalent, will be cropped, so I won't have the full 45 megapixels out of the Z7II, but I'm also going to have the 35mm focal length on the Z6II that's cropped. So we'll see how they perform, what I think about them, and then I'll let you guys know if you have a Z50 or if you don't care about the crop factor, if these two lenses will be worth it. What's going on, guys? I'm back from Barrett-Jackson. I was able to test out the Viltrox 33mm f1.4 as well as the 23mm f1.4, and I've got to say I'm really impressed with the image quality. I kind of expected it with having the 1.8 like I mentioned before, and I was really impressed. So now what I've got is I've actually got a comparison. I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison between the Nikon Z6II with the 35mm 1.8 from Nikon against the Nikon Z5 with the 33mm f1.4 from Viltrox. Now the reason I'm using both of these cameras as a side-by-side comparison is because the Z5 for video, when you're doing 4K 24, it goes down to a 1.7x crop. So I put the 33mm on the Z5 at the 1.7x crop, and then I put the Z6II with the 35 1.8 in DX crop mode, so they're similar effective focal ranges. So what you're seeing right now is the Nikon Z6II with the 35mm 1.8. All of the settings are the same except for the aperture. The Z6II is at f1.8 and the Z5 is at f1.4. So obviously the Z5 is going to be a little bit brighter because of the 1.4, but what do you think of the image quality? Now, I've synced the audio. I have the audio going into the Z6II using my Rode Video Mic Pro, as well as a Zoom H1 plugged in as a preamp. What do you guys think? The Z6II with the 35 1.8 or the Z5 with the Viltrox 33mm f1.4? All in all, I am very impressed with the image quality. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the crop, so my final thoughts is the image quality is fantastic. So if you have a Nikon Z50, these lenses are fantastic. Or if all you're doing is video, these lenses are fantastic. You are going to have the crop, but it doesn't affect the 4K or anything like that in this crop mode. So my final thoughts, if you're only doing video, these lenses are fantastic. You get that extra light input from the f1.4. The image quality is fantastic. The lenses are like half the price of the Nikon lenses. So if you're interested in that, you either own the Z50 or all you're doing is video, these lenses are a fantastic option. If you liked this content and you want to see more of it, please consider liking and subscribing down below. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I answer every comment that comes in so far. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. I appreciate your time. Josh with Shua Photography. We'll see you in the next one.